Thank you. You can tell that Anne is a champion of controlling her mind. So she doesn't go to this place of dwelling upon how hard it's going to be. And if you do, we have a solution for you here. Goals become achievable when you have a plan to implement them and a system to maintain them. James Clear said, in general, we don't rise to our goals, we fall to our level of systems. So what we want to do is put a system in place that ensures that we're going to reach that goal. So we're going to need a plan and we're going to need a system. Let's talk about the difference between process goals and outcome goals. Now, process goals are those that are driven by regular activities. See the woman on the treadmill. She shows up on her treadmill, whether it's in her office or home or whether it's at the gym every day. This is a system, a process that she does. But somebody that doesn't have that system and they are motivated by just the outcome, I'm going to get on the scale and look, they often find that they're disappointed. Unlike results, we have control over processes. So here's two examples. Which goal do you have control over? Put in that in chat. Do you have control over an outcome goal, like having 500 units in inventory by April 1st? Let's say that's your goal for your Amazon business. You're going to have 500 units in inventory by April 1st. Do you have control over that? Or do you have control over the process goal, which is to research products 10 hours each week? So what do you think? Which would be more doable or achievable? At least for certain. What do you know about yourself? Are you certain you'd have 500 units in inventory by April 1st, assuming that's a stretch for you? That would be a big goal for you. Or can you research products 10 hours per week? So processes, when they're repeated and documented, turn into systems. And that's where you can create an SOP, a standard operating procedure. That's why there's so much emphasis on this in larger businesses. They focus on SOPs, building SOPs, because they know that these processes, when documented, a repeated process will turn into a system. And those are achievable. Systems can and should be delegated. So if you have an SOP for researching 10 hours a day, well, then you can delegate that to somebody. You don't have to be the one to do it. KPIs, this is another portion, another part of creating an action plan, key performance indicators. These are how you know if you're on track to achieve your goal. So this is a method of determining what's important to be tracked. That's why they're called key performance indicators. And then you also need a system for tracking them, like that spreadsheet right there. And if you were to ask Lisa, Lisa Celine, our operations manager, how many SOPs do we have?
There must be literally hundreds. And I'll just say, even just yesterday, it's a process that Lisa and I do together. And I'm like, Ann, Lens, is this something Lisa and I could offset? And right on the fly, as I was doing it, I had this filter going, and how many months are you into this? And Lisa and Ann should not be doing this part of a particular task that we have. So, boom, I open up Loom and I record it. And I said, Lisa, we need to have one of our virtual assistants do this. Boom, she agreed. That was another process that got created yesterday. So it's always looking at what I can offset. But processes, we have hundreds because we have many departments too within the company. So it's enormous.
Well, I know a process, an SOP that we're going to have to update. And that's one for Saturday morning live and making sure that we have the correct audio settings. Whatever that is that changed, we need to update that SOP. So yes, you have to maintain those SOPs. So let's talk about how to structure this action plan. Now remember, we've chosen a goal. In fact, that's really the first step here, is to choose a goal that is specific, measurable, and time-based. Now this comes from an acronym called SMART goals, which are specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. And for an action plan, I've chosen these three parts of the or 3 attributes of SMART goals: the specific, measurable, and time-based. And the reason for specificity is that if you're not specific about your goal, you don't know if you have attained it. You could think you've attained it, but you're not sure. That's why it needs to be specific. Also, how do you chart a course, a plan towards something when you don't know exactly what the outcome is supposed to be? So specific. Measurable. Again, if you can't measure it, how do you know you've arrived? How do you know you've achieved it? And then time-based is by when will you have it achieved, or how much time, if it's a process-oriented goal, how much time are you going to spend at it, and how often? What's the frequency of it? So specific, measurable, and time-based. 2, identify the key steps or processes. So you've chosen a goal, it's specific, it's measurable, time-based. What are the key steps to bring it about? What do you have to put in place? And in what order do you put that in place? So that's simple. That's part of every plan, right? You have step 1, step 2, step 3. I think everybody understands that. The third thing here that goes into an action plan is to choose who's going to be responsible for it, who's going to perform it. And we frequently call this roles and responsibilities. Who's going to do it? What are they going to be responsible for? 4, now you need to acquire the resources that are necessary to complete each step. And if you are delegating this to somebody, you've given them a role and responsibility, you need to make sure that you have provided them with the resources. And I like to think of it as empowering them with the resources they need to do the job. So if you're hiring a product researcher and you haven't given them a spreadsheet to record their results, you haven't given them a tool like AZ Insight, you need to empower them and give them the tools that they need to be able to complete the job and get it done. And there we go. And number 5, here's the KPIs, those key performance indicators, as well as a method for tracking them. So with product research as an example, how many products is your product researcher finding every hour or finding every week? What are the qualities? Are they winning products? Are they products that you would actually use in your business? I know there's a number of members that have hired VAs, virtual assistants, to perform this task for them, and they're not tracking this. And then they're saying, how come my business isn't really taking off the way that I had hoped? Well, how many products are they finding for you? How many units are you ordering? What's the dollar amount or the net profit or net profit margin or ROI that you're making? Are you tracking that for your products? Well, no, I'm not tracking it. Well, this is part of the system that you need to identify the important indicators, the key performance indicators, and set up a system to track that. Okay, so this leads us to writing an SOP. And I put one on here. This is an SOP for working with the prep center. You'll see that it mimics pretty closely what I just described in those 5 steps. So here's a goal. And I don't know if you can read this very clearly, but especially if you're on a mobile device, but I'll read it out to you. So the goal: smoothly and efficiently manage shipments of OA products, online arbitrage products, from supplier to Amazon's warehouses. So Prep Center is going to be a key part of moving those from the supplier to the Amazon warehouse. Key steps: once a product purchase is complete, enter the product information on the Prep Center tracking spreadsheet, including the tracking number, the shipping plan name, the supplier name, the total quantity, etc., as is applicable. Number 2, here's the second step. If requesting additional services such as bundling, please provide specific details, like the bundle includes product X and one of product Y for this particular SKU. Step number 3, monitor product arrivals at the Prep Center. These will be entered on the Prep Center tracking spreadsheet by the Prep Center staff. And then there's 3 sub-steps that go to this: A, B, and C. Now, who is this going to be performed by? Well, Anna is going to perform it. So she's responsible. She's doing this role of those steps. What's the time for it? Well, there's a schedule. This is daily. It's got to be done every day. Required access. This is the resources. The Seller Central Prep Center account and tracking spreadsheet, purchase product spreadsheet in our company Drive, our company Google Drive. And the resources, there's links to all those resources. So now we've provided everything that's necessary to achieve these steps. So this is how you write an SOP, Standard Operating Procedure. So if you want, take a screenshot of this because I have a little task for you. So take a screenshot or come back and watch this. You'll be able to get this on, if you're on a mobile device, come back and watch this on a computer. I'm going to give you a challenge here. Help you raise the level of performance in your business. This week, sometime this week, I want you to write an SOP for a repeated process in your business. And these are the 5 steps for it. You're going to choose a goal that's specific, measurable, and time-based. So, and this should be a repeated goal. Remember, a repeated process. Don't bother writing this for something you do once or twice. It's something that you do consistently in your business. And the goal of writing this SOP is to create that consistency, to ensure that consistency. So you're going to choose a goal, specific, measurable, and time-based. You're going to identify the key steps or processes. You're going to choose who will perform each of those processes. That might be you. That's okay, but put you down. You're going to say, I'm going to do this, this, and that. Acquire the resources necessary to complete each step. So what are those resources that you have to have? And then identify those key performance indicators and create a method to track them and put that link to that or where you obtain that. Put that in your SOP. Can you do that? So let us know. In fact, if you will in chat, let us know what process you're going to write an SOP for. I'd really like to know. What process will you write that SOP for?
It used to be said if you're not online, you're not in business. That's from like 15 years ago. All right. Now it's that if you're not on Amazon, you're not in business.
Regardless of that big dream, you've got to build a foundation. You have to have a business that has cash flow.
You need more cash? Go out and source some more. Shove those products into Amazon. What's going to spit out the other end is profit. It's that simple, isn't it?
Then they start looking at it as, this really is a system. So how can I add more to my system? How can I start to scale this?
That's why this is so integral, each pillar leading up sequentially to that long-term reliable business.
These are the real assets then that somebody who wants to buy a business, this is what they look for.
This is the brand launcher, the career launcher, the income launcher. It's a beautiful thing. And I know you're going to love what this can do for you. You're going to get a vision. You're going to get a vision to grow your business, to sell it for a profit. Kind of show your pals, your friends, your family.
Yes, you can make $1 million just selling on Amazon alone.